So I picked up this 2026 Super Z Hustler with the VX4 deck in a 72-inch cut. I want to go over it with you guys and kind of showcase some of the cutting I done. As you can see yesterday, if you didn't watch the video prior to this, this was like a hayfield all the way down there, absolute mess. And I did have to double cut it, but I'll show you in the video why. And it was, you know, just overgrown so much that there was absolutely no mower that you could have cut it with one time and been good. But I want to go over this mower in completion. And if you don't know and you're new to the channel, I've had a Hustler Hyperdrive in a 2022 version in a 66-inch cut with a 37 horse Briggs. And then I had the X-Ride, the 2025 X-Ride, with the Evo motor, which is the only one that offers that. Now, another, just a history lesson. So used to, the Super Z had 24-inch tires. So if you bought a Super Z from 23 back, it had 24-inch tires on it. And I think in 2024, they swapped to a 26-inch tire, and now it has a 26 12 by 12. I'm probably going to swap this to a 26 14 wide by 12, which will give me 2-inch more wider tire to bring it out with the actual deck and also help with the stripe some. But the Hyperdrive has that from the factory. So I'll show you in this little clip coming up kind of the differences. So on the Super Z, the differences is you've got a 2-inch narrower tire, and the pump system is different on the Super Z as well. It has the Hydro Gear Parker setup, where the other one has the Dan Foss setup on it. So this is a 21cc Hydro Gear pump and a Parker wheel motor. Now, I'm pretty sure this has 12 gallons of fuel, 6 on each side. One of the things that I absolutely love about Hustler is the parking brake in the handlebar. So when you get on and off the mower, you just get on it and then you pull your handlebars in, your parking brake is off. You don't have to worry about flipping a lever or anything like that. It's just really, really nice on these machines. And that's one of the things that I've loved about it. It's also just, like I said, it's just handy on hillsides and stuff. I mow a lot of hillsides, as you can see here. The other things that I really like is the deck goes up to 5.5 inches. A lot of other mowers only go to 5 inches. And like yesterday, I cut this on 5 inches or 5.5 inches for the cut. So that grass is cut at 5.5 all the way across. But it was so overgrown, like you're going to see later on in the video of all the cut I did, what a mess it was. Another thing that Hustler does is they give you pneumatic front tires. So these have air in them. I love that. It gives it a better ride than almost any other mower that is set up the same way as this. Also, these mowers are longer. So like on my X-Ride, the stance was a lot narrower. I think this is 62 to 66 inches wide from the tire to tire, whereas the X-Ride is like 58 or something. So it's a lot narrower machine. It's also shorter. So this machine rides over terrain extremely well. I'll probably put flex forks on this because I absolutely loved them on my other Hyperdrive. This machine, the way I outfitted this machine and the way I would outfit it again and again and again, you need these machines to be as light as possible when you go to a 72-inch, because the lightest you can get them is, so for this one, the lightest you can get it is about 1,600 pounds. So the way that you get that is you get the 35 horse carb motor, which I would not want any less motor than that right there. Like this 72-inch deck, at least on hillsides, if you're mowing flat ground, you don't notice it near as much. But on big hillsides, this motor is so stout. Like this motor is stouter than the 38 Kohler I had out here testing on the Scag Cheetah with the 61 inch on this 72. It just feels really stout. I think it's got 56 foot-pounds of torque at 2,600 RPM. So that's another thing, is on the X-Ride, it's a very heavy machine. It's almost 1,600 pounds. So it's really close to the weight of this machine. But then again, it doesn't have the horsepower and torque. If you look at the torque curve, I'll pop all that up. But if you look at the torque curve of the Evo versus the 35 carb versus the 38 EFI, then it's a major difference in how much torque you're getting down low on this motor and versus the Evo. So this has a wide torque curve, and I really like that. Now, once you get the 38.5 fuel injected, it adds about 30 pounds to the motor. So you've got another 30 pounds of weight. And like I said, I just want this machine as light as possible. One of the things that I can tell you is I had the 66-inch hyperdrive, and I've had the X-Ride. So this machine is very stable. Like, it's insanely stable, and it's very good on hillsides. The way you can stop and manipulate yourself, it works very well. It rides extremely well, and it has just all around, it's a very comfortable mower. The way that the joysticks control, they're so smooth. By far the smoothest mower when you consider all of the, like how everything functions together. It is insanely smooth. I also like the deck leveling system on it. You can level the deck here very easy. I've got a video on that. If you click more below this video, you'll be able to see a lot of our older videos. Also, how you level your deck on this, and about any other mower, they'll show you how to do it and what tools you need. Now, one of the things that I do like on the VX4 deck, they make a VX deck and they make a VX4 deck. So I'll show you that in the corner right here. But the VX4 deck, it has a baffle that is movable in the front. So you can move this up or down depending on your cutting conditions and how much blowout. If you're getting a lot of blowout, you can drop this down even lower, and that will stop your blowout. The Scag has that. This has that. A few other machines have that. Now, one of the things on the VX4, or just the VX deck, it doesn't have that, but it has the Scag X-Mark turbo baffle style right here. So the baffling goes across to your spindle. So I would really like to test one of those decks versus the VX4, because there's some people that, say the VX deck will outcut the VX4. So I don't know. I've never tested one. There's a little bit different how the blades are set also, but not a whole lot. Now, we've had a ton of mowers out. So I've yet to cut with this on like a normal weekly cut. All I've got to cut is a big mess that I had in my yard. Now this over here has been cut by autonomous mowers, so it stays pretty uniform the whole time. But I did have a little bit in the back that I'll show you that I cut with it, but it just wasn't enough to really test the mower. So I'm very curious to see how this will do on a weekly cut that I manicure the yard 3 or 4 times, because this is taking on a lot more grass. And from my experience, the 72s aren't going to cut as good as the 61s. Like, for instance, if you took a 61 or 60-inch deck with a 35 horse carb, you're just going to keep power a lot more at the blade. And the more power you have at the blade, the faster the rotations are. But this does hold its RPM really well to be as big as it is. But another thing that is really impressive. So the reason that I was telling you the whole history thing behind the wheel size. So they rated the Super Z at 14 mile per hour, and they rated the Hyperdrive at 16 mile per hour. Now this Super Z has 26s on it like the Hyperdrive, because the Hyperdrive has always had a 26-inch tire, at least for the last 10 or 15 years, I would say. So it was the only one that had a 26-inch rear tire. Now the Super Z has that. So you're getting the ride of that, and you're getting the taller tire for the higher speeds. I would be curious to see how this compared to the hyperdrive, because this machine feels almost as fast or as fast. It's been a while since I've been on a hyperdrive because I sold my 66 about 2 years ago. But this machine is fast and smooth. Now, on this newer one, they've swapped these to the Scag looking style that is absolute garbage. It's not padded anymore and as nice as it was bolstering. These do not last long. They kind of peel and then they just tear up. They're just not good. Also, this used to have 2 USBs. Now it has 1, which I like that because you can see the little light, so you're getting to tell whether it's on or off. So it does have a USB. I wish this was a USB and USB-C. I may take that out and swap it with a USB-C fast charger to go in there, because that one is just, looks like 1.5 amp, so it's not going to charge your phone or anything else very fast. But it's just one of them things that, you know, I guess you just have to deal with. Now, another thing, my hyperdrive had a back extension where you could adjust the back of this. It doesn't look like they have that any longer. It looks like they've removed that from the seat, at least from what I can see. I don't see or feel any of that on there. So there's no way to adjust how the seat tilts. I don't know why they removed that. But anyway, on the reason that you go with a hyperdrive or Super Z is this. So you're getting a ton more cooling capacity and stuff on this. And as you're going to see in the video, I mow for a long time, and all this is not like scalding hot like it is on at least your hydraulic line stuff. You have a big cooler up here to cool your hydraulics with a radiator. See that big radiator? On your other machines, you don't have that. So all the heat builds up, and that breaks your seals and stuff down. You've got to change your oil a lot faster. And this just keeps your hydraulics running and driving the same as they do if you start, you know, at 8 o'clock in the morning, or you start at 12 o'clock and you saw all day. Your hydraulics feel really good the entire time. So the only thing that I wish Hustler had is like Exmark. I wish they had the deck where it wouldn't jump out on you. This deck, if you're going really fast and you're at like 5 to 5 1/4 inches and you hit a big bump, a lot of times the deck will jump up and it will go into lockout mode there. And then you'll go 2 stripes down, you'll look back, and then it will be in the lockout position. Hustler also has really big pulleys, and it has a single belt going from the front to the back. You can take this off in the field in literally 5 minutes with a pair of needle nose pliers. All you do is let the deck all the way down and take this chain, pull it over the knuckle here, and then that lets all the tension off your blade, and you can take it all the way off there. Or you can roll one of the belts over the side, but then you've still got to detension it. Just depends on how you want to do it. But anyway, I'm going to showcase this cutting like this was yesterday. As you can see, this is what it looks like now. It turned out really good. I just did some crazy lines just to play around. I do all kinds of different designs, but I've done zigzag. You can see those back in the other videos and a bunch of other stuff. But if you got any questions, leave them down below. Hopefully this helps some of you if you're trying to decide. I wish they still made the 66-inch cut. They do not. Now, this has greasable spindles on it. You grease them below on the bottom of the deck, as you can see on the housing right there. So all of this is able to be greased. I've been one hand driving this most of the time. This thing's so smooth. I'm not sure if the hyperdrive is any faster than this. I do think that the original takeoff and stuff is probably a little more rapid on the hyperdrive, but I'm not sure. hill. I mean, this thing will like stop and back up. It gets really, really thick right here all the way up. You can see how thick it is. So I'm gonna take you through that. See right here. It's literally like cutting a hay field. This mowing grass and seed head all over the front of the mower. Right there is real thick. Look at that. Definitely have to go back over all this. I mean, it's giving a wonderful cut. It's cutting it smooth, but I mean, it's just so thick that it's gonna have to be gone back over. You can see right there. See all that laying on that? I mean, it's just so much. It's kicking out of the deck. This right here is the absolute thickest part, and I mean, it is so lush and so damp that you can see it's like covering the next 3 rows with it. Now the real test will be, can the 72 clean itself up when you do the second pass to go over it? So like I said, I mean, the first pass is, I mean, it's clean down through there. You can see it's a clean pass. But it's kicking so much and putting so much in the deck. I mean, as you can see, I'm cutting at 5.5 inches from there over. Like the whole yard's 5.5 inches, and it's still that much thicker. I mean, that's a huge test for a mower, any mower, like absolutely insane. So here you can see I've been over this so far with the pass, and it's glazed on this really, I mean, this real thick part. Now, remember, this is crazy. I mean, look at this. You can see where I'm going through, how thick that is. So we're gonna cut some normal grass too, but here's normal grass that I've cut with it so far. Single pass through here. And I mean, you can see it's just shaven, beautiful cut. Mowing them hillsides, and I can put my hand on here and it is, I mean, not hot at all. So let's see if the pump or the, yeah, that's hot to the touch right there. The lines and the metal, that's hot to the touch, but the fluid that's going through these is not, nor is the radiator. I mean, it's warm, but it's not hot. And I'm mowing these big hills, like that's all I mow, hillside. And if you don't, you know, if you've not been here, this hillside, once it goes over, is very steep. Like a lot of mowers slide over, and this mower is just so smooth. Very impressive. And another thing, you can tell how big a grass I'm mowing because it's all going on the deck. But I absolutely love Hustler for keeping it out of your pulleys, out of your spindles. Like there is nothing in there. If you go and you do this with a Scag, your deck, your pulley, your spindles will be so jammed up with junk that, you know, you've got to stop and blow it out. It's piled up over it. You know, it just keeps on going. This here, you can take one hand, stop, and knock it off, and it's not in any of your pulleys or anything like that. Absolutely love that. Look how much is on top of that. Look how thick it is. It's man. It's so thick right there. But this thing's gonna lay an absolutely beautiful stripe, really wide. You can see it there. But, I mean, this yard hadn't been cutting forever, so it's a mess this time. But, like I said, I'm gonna take you over here and cut some normal yard. But let's see if it'll clean this up. So you can see here, I've started halfway across this yard to clean it up again. I'm gonna go from this side all the way over and clean these up. And I was gonna show you this stuff that, you know, is laying on top after the first cut is like this here. And you can see the seed heads and stuff. It slung them out pretty quick without chopping them up, but I mean, they were 2 and 3 foot tall. But I'll leave them on that stripe, and you can see where I've went over here. So that's the second pass. As you can see over there, you can see where it stops. It's much greener where the second pass is. And see, it stops right here because there's still some overlay on it. But over there will be the real test. So, I mean, this was still crazy tall, as you've seen, but there is some stuff laying on top, as you can see through here. Not crazy bad for what it was, but I don't know that you'd take any mower through it twice and clean it up perfect, especially in the really, really thick areas where it was originally like dense, because this grass, I'm cutting it at 5 inches now, and I mean, you can see how thick and lush, like it's sod filling. But you can see big old chunks over there laying where it just couldn't do anything with it because it's so thick in that area. But we'll finish this out and see. So you can see there's 5 going back through it. Now where it's extremely, extremely thick, there is a little bit of blow over on it. So I'm gonna take you for a ride along on the speed on this and show you why I think it's just as fast as a hyperdrive or really, really close. Let me get over this bump. So as I was telling you guys, I was going to double cut this. So I'm going to let you see what it looks like double cut with the 72-inch VX4 Kawasaki FX1000. Blow this thing off while I'm at it. So there is the double cut on that. I just did some crazy pattern this time. I wasn't doing double cuts opposing directions. But there you go. If you ask me, it's a beautiful cut and beautiful stripe. Now, on the 72, I'm not sure yet because I've not been able to cut a normal yard, how this compares from the 60 to the 72. But one thing I can tell you is this mower combo with the Kawasaki and the 72-inch deck, it seems a lot quieter. Now, I don't know if that's from the bigger deck and the blade, you know, in there, like how it's set up. I don't know if that's what that is, but it just seems much quieter than the extra I did, and it reminds me of my 66-inch hyperdrive I had. But like I said, I'm not sure. But anyway, on long seed heads, so this is one of the first times that I've had my yard crazy, crazy tall. And I double cut this so you can see on the secondary cut how the seed head is. There is seed head everywhere. But as you've seen in the original video, this yard was, I mean, a mess. And so to double cut it, it seems great on here to me. I mean, to be as big a mess as it was, I mean, it was literally, some of the stems were waist high, but the 72-inch deck doesn't seem to chop the seed heads up too well, in my opinion. But like I said, I'll have to wait until I get a normal week, like a few weeks cut on it. But one thing I can tell you is you can cover a lot of ground quickly with that 72. Now, I double cut this whole yard, the back, all the side, everything. And when I started, I had about 0.4 or 0.5 hours on it. And I think it's got 2.5 now. And I did a lot of stopping and videoing, and I was sitting there with it, so 2.8. So I'm guessing that I can mow. Before, with the 60-inch cut, even with the Cheetah, 61, it would take me anywhere from an hour and 45 to 2 hours to do the entire property once. So to double cut that, and like I said, I stopped, videoed, done a bunch of other stuff in between there. So I guess we'll see long term. And one other thing, I noticed if you notice, this deck sticks out wider over here than it does over here. So, you know, the side of it is further out. I always use my front spindles to judge my width off of my step. So it's going to take me a minute to get used to that, because like on the Scag Cheetah, I love striping with it because the tire front width was almost as wide as the deck. So you could use it right beside your stripe. Well, on this one, if you cut this way, like if you cut this way when you start, and the next time you cut, you try to cut this way, it's really hard to stay in your pattern really well. So if you start over here and you cut this way, you need to do it every time. At least that works better, in my opinion, because the decks are different sizes on each one. And so if you use your front spindles as judge, you're gonna go over into your other stripe, and then it'll get wonky as you go. It's gonna take me a minute to get used to it. I got a little bit out of line over here on these. I don't know if you can tell in video or not, but I got a little bit out of line because I tried to start coming back this way to test, and I was like, that ain't gonna work till I get used to it. So that's one of the things. But the control, everything on this mower is just phenomenal. If you have a big property, I love the 72-inch deck. I had a 72-inch Dixie chopper, but the Dixie chopper would not hold a heel well at all. I don't know if it's just the center of gravity or what, but this hill down here, it would slide over. It felt like you was about to fall off the thing. It just did not do well on big hillsides, in my opinion. Like I said, someone else may love it, but this is so much more controllable and smooth. And the width of the back, I mean, it felt like I was never out of control, never sliding, anything like that. And I wanted to try 72 for a year or two and see my thoughts on it. So you guys will get to see that as we go along. Like I said, I don't know how it's going to compare with the 60 as far as over time. This yard was just absolutely abnormal cutting it this time, and it was a huge mess. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And like I said, if you got any questions on this, just stay tuned. We're going to do a lot of testing with this mower and others, and also just kind of give our opinion as time goes on. But I picked this mower up for roughly, I think it was like 13.4, 13.5, maybe 13.3. I don't remember. I can't remember what it was, but it was a crazy deal for one of these. And I was, like I said, happy to test one of these out, especially with the Kawasaki. Now, one of the things that I did notice, when I would go across ground really fast and get to jarring the Kawasaki, it would cut out at times. I've never had that with any other mower. And it just did it once or twice, and I couldn't get it to replicate like perfectly, or just, it was just random. So I don't really know what that was. But this hydraulic setup is phenomenal. Like, it's so smooth, and I just, like I said, I enjoy it. I love this mower. I love having the big deck to go through it quicker. I wish I could have got a 66, but they no longer make that. That was my favorite mower of all time, but you can't get those anymore. Once I get the flex forks on this and get a little more time on it, get a little better with it, this may be, I may never go back to a 60. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people really said they love the 72s, and I like the idea of it, but I just don't know, like, will I have to double cut every time? Will I have to, I don't know. I want to see on this. So stay tuned for that.